Hello everyone, welcome back to the series of Python Unleashed. My name is Ajay, and in my previous tutorial we have just taken an example how to define a class. So that was the example 1, and in this particular tutorial we are going to define one more class. We are going to understand how to implement a class. So here it is. This is the class that we need to define. That there is a class known as bus, okay, with the following specifications, and these are the data members. Now the data members will be like we'll be storing the bus number, okay, and then we have a from which place the bus is going to start. So this particular data member is basically going to store the starting point, okay, so it will store the starting point, and 2 will be basically storing for the destination point. So from where, which place it is going to start, that we are going to store in from, and 2 we are going to store to the destination point, okay, to which place the bus is going to go. And then we have a data member that is type. Now this is going to store the bus type, okay, we'll come back to this. And then the distance that needs to be covered by the bus, and fare is where we are going to store the fare, okay, the total cost. So total cost to the customer. So then we are going to have some member functions. That is a function called as calc fare. Okay, now calc fare member function is basically going to calculate the fare, okay, the total cost that will be to the customer, and it will depend on the on the type of the data member, that is type. Now what is type? For example, if the bus type is O, which means ordinary, okay, if it's a very ordinary bus, then we will calculate that the fare, that is 15 into the distance, the into kilometers, okay. And if it is E, that is an economy class, so we will calculate that as 20 into the distance in kilometer. And L, that is a luxury bus. If it's a luxury bus, then we will calculate is the amount, that is 35 into the distance, that is in the kilometer, right? So this is how we are going to have a member function which will calculate the fare. And then we are going to have the function that is enter data to accept values. Now the values that we're going to accept is the bus number, from, that is the starting point, to, that is the destination point, and type. Now this is the user is going to enter. So the user will basically enter the type of a bus. So if it is O, at O, then the fare is going to get calculated automatically using this function calc fare, because we are going to give a call to this function inside the function enter data, okay. And then we will have a function display which will display all the values. So this is what we need to define, this is what we need to model, okay. So let us start this. So let us have the class, that is class, okay. We will have a class with the keyword class, and the class name, that is bus. I'll keep it capital, okay. And then we have the first data member, that is the bus number, okay, the bus number. Now we need to have a constructor, right? So to initialize the values, so let us have the constructor, that is def, okay, and then I say the double underscore init and self, okay. And then we can have the bus number. I will initialize that to 0. These are the initial values. And then one more data member, that is 2. Now 2 will basically okay, I need to have a self out here, and self dot 2, so it will store the starting point, so let it be a string. And again self dot, I will have okay, this should be from, isn't it, from starting point, and this will be 2. Even this will be stored as a string. Then I will have self dot, that is okay, I just forgot, I'll just see, that is the type, distance and fare, right? Type, distance and fare, okay. sorry, the type. So type will be also string because it is going to store the type of the bus. So it will be O, it will be E, or it is going to be L, right? And then self dot distance, keep that as also distance as 0. And then at the last we are going to have self dot fare, and that also I'll keep it as 0. Okay, so the bus number, then from to the type of bus, the distance to be covered, and then depending on the type and the distance, we're going to multiply this type into distance, and that we are going to store in fare. Okay, then we are going to have the member functions, that is let us have the fare calc fare, and then let us just calculate the calc fare. How to calculate the calc fare? That is self, I'll just say return, and I say self dot that is the type. Now we cannot have a return out here because it will depend on the kind of type of bus, isn't it? So it depends on the type. So if I say if self dot type, if it is equal to capital O, okay, if it is equal to capital O, then what should I return? I should return self dot, that is okay, self dot fare. Okay, let me just calculate first. That is self dot fare will be, what it will be, what is the value that we need to have? That is 15 into the distance, isn't it? So but we are not aware of the distance yet, right? So we need to have that thing. We are going to collect that value from the user. So I'll just say self dot, that is okay, this will be, since it is O, so it will be 15 into, then I say self dot distance, right? And then let us have the elif condition, self dot type, if it is equal to I say that is E, and let me just copy this and I'll just paste it, and this I'll make it as 20, and again I will have the same thing, that is elif, okay, elif, and then I'll just copy this, paste it. Okay, so if it is O, then we are going to calculate 15 into self dot distance. Now this is the value that we are going to accept from the user, and then we are going to give a call to this function. So at the finally this will be 35. Okay, so we have stored, we are going to calculate that, and we are going to store in the data member, that is fare. Okay, so then we are going to have, that is a function called as enter data to accept the values. Now what are the things that we are going to accept from the user is that is the bus number. So I will say self dot bus number is equal to int. Okay, I'll just have an integer value. This is just an example, so we're not going to take we can take into string also, but at this point I'm just taking as an integer value, and I'll say input enter bus number, simple. Okay, and then I will say self dot that is from. Okay, this will just have a string, so I'll just give the string value, that is enter, just the input function, enter the origin of place, or enter from which place, something of that sort. And then again I will have the same thing, that is self dot to, and I will say enter the destination place. Okay, and then I will say self dot type. Now this is very important. type. Okay, and I'll simply have input, and I say enter the bus type. Enter the bus type. Now, depending on the value that the user is going to enter, and we're going to assume that the user is going to enter either O, E, and L. We are going to assume that we're not going to do any kind of validations out here. Okay. Then, depending on the value of the type, we are going to give a call to the function that is calc fair. That's it. And just have the reference that is self dot calcfile. That's it. So we are going to accept the value, the bus number from to type, and then we are going to give a call to the function that is calcfare. So it will jump over here, and depending on the value of type, it is going to calculate the total fare, and it is going to store that value in that fare, isn't it? Then we are going to have the function that is display, which will display all the data. So let us display that. Print the bus number, or just the bus number. I'll just have some spaces, and then I say comma self dot, and then the bus number. And let me just copy this and paste it. This will be for the from, this will be for to, the type, the distance, and the total fare. Okay, so I'll just change these messages, that is bus number, then I will say from. Okay, then I will say to, and over here I will say the type of bus. So I'll just keep this alignment together so that it looks good on the screen, and then I will say the distance to cover. Okay, and then the total fare. Okay, and that's it. So this is how we have done this. We have modeled it, we have defined the class. Let me just give the spaces after every function though, so that it looks good, it looks beautiful. So this is the constructor, that is the init function, and this is the calc fare, which will calculate the fare depending on the value of type, and this is the data where we are going to accept the data from the user, and then we are going to give a call to this function, and then the display function. Okay, so let us just create a object of the class bus, that is a is equal to bus, and then I will give a call to a dot to the function that is enter data. Okay, so this will basically jump to this, and then it will accept the values, and then simply I will say a dot display. That's it. Okay, looks good. So let us just run this now, and let us see the output. Okay, so here it is, that is enter the bus number. I'll give 1 2 3 4, then which place, maybe I say Pune, destination place, maybe I say Mumbai, and the type of bus will be O, that is an ordinary bus. Okay, and then you can see this is the output that we got. Now we have this 1 2 3 everywhere because I did not change the things over here. That is a bus number. Second was that is a from to, so this has to be the from, this needs to be to, and this will be the type of bus, and this will be the distance. Okay, this will be the distance, and this will be the fare. So in fact it did not ask me for the distance, so I just forgot to accept the distance over here. So I will say self dot distance to cover, and that I'm going to take as integer value, that is the kilometers. Okay, enter, and the message will be enter the distance. That's it. Now let us run this and see the output. So here it is, enter the bus number. I say 1 2 3 4, place is Pune, and the destination is Mumbai, and the bus type is ordinary, and the distance to be covered is 150 kilometers. Okay, so 150, that's it. And then you can see the output out here. that is the bus number is 1234 from Pune to Mumbai. Type of bus it is showing as 0. Now why it is showing as 0 is, let me just check, and distance is 150 and this is the total fare that has been calculated. Okay, the type is showing as 0. Okay, self dot type, it looks good. Then type of bus, okay, that I'm displaying that type. So self dot type as input, and acha, it's O, it's not 0, it's O basically. So it's everything is running fine. So let us run this one more time. That is 1 2 3 4. Then place is the same, I'll give Pune Mumbai. Then type is, this time I'll go by luxury bus, that is L, and then the distance will be the same, 150. And then you can see if I go by the luxury bus, I will be, this is what I'm going to get charged, and if I go by the ordinary bus, this is what is going to get charged. Okay, so this is just a sample data. Okay, I know that it is not going to cost you that much. Anyway, so this is how to model a class, and this is how we could have the constructor, the member data inside that. So this, all these variables are the object variable. Understand, all the variables that comes under the init is called as the member data. Okay, object variables, and these are the member functions. So everything comes inside a class, and so this is called as encapsulation, because all the data and the functions are are actually packed inside one unit. So it is called as encapsulation. Okay, and this is how we have created one object, and we give a call to the enter data, and in enter data we have gave a call to the calc fare, which actually calculates the total fare depending on the variable, that is the data that you enter for type and distance. Okay, so that's it for today. Bye for now.